Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here. Hello. I've just been reminded that the dB meter isn't on, Daniel, so
Okay.
I shall
That's not a bad idea.
make it so.
Indeed.
I think it's particularly important in this edition. Why?
Well, we're doing a show looking at the difference between a Fender Super Reverb and a Fender Deluxe Reverb. Now, I'm not a massive Fender amp aficionado.
Right.
We've used the Super Reverb for a long time, but the Deluxe is new to me.
Yes. So one of the reasons we're doing this video is because when we did the show on the Deluxe Reverb just recently, so we did a show, Fender 65 Deluxe Reverb reissue, which is the modern, completely bog standard 65 Deluxe Reverb, compared with its digital modeling Tone Master brother, which for all intents and purposes looks exactly the same but is digital modeling. And in the comments in that video, really interesting video actually for lots of reasons, one of the main comments we got back was, please can you compare it with the Super Reverb?
Yeah.
Now there are lots of Fender blackface amps. Mm-hmm. If we go back to the late 1940s, Doc Kaufman, Leo Fender get together, K&F,
yes,
and start making amps before Fender starts making electric guitars.
So the amps came first.
The amps came first.
Yeah.
And back in the day, I'll try and keep this as brief as possible. You've got those little tweed things, well, before that, but anyway, they morph into these little tweed things that we know and love with names like Champ, Deluxe, Twin, Super, all
Pro.
These names, that have become, and then other stuff like Harvard and Princeton and stuff, all these names that have become absolutely enshrined in amp history down the years.
I didn't know there was a Harvard.
Yeah.
Of course, Princeton and Harvard.
Yeah,
Wow.
quite not exactly a common Fender amp, and I don't think they continued it. But anyway, Joe Bonamassa loves them, obviously.
Of course he does.
Speaking of Joe Bonamassa, where's the horn gone, Dan?
Right there.
Oh yeah, obscured by stool. Joe Bonamassa. Actually, we should also say that we are without Simon and Fraser today. Tomorrow in the UK, we go into the second national lockdown. Sorry, in England, we go into the second national lockdown. Mm-hmm. Government's decided to lock down again because of coronavirus, COVID-19. That's as much as we'll say about that, other than Catherine is manning the camera today. No Fraser, no Simon. Dan and I thought we would old school.
Wing and a prayer, baby.
Try and get some videos in the can so that there's some content over the lockdown when we can't really film. So, yeah, that's why we're doing this. Feels good, actually. Bit of seat of the pants. No disrespect to Simon and Fraser. So, yeah, right. Tweed things that we know and love. Come the early 60s. I'm not sure of the exact date of the changeover. 63, 64, something
2nd
like
of
that.
November, I don't know.
The amps go from being tweed to being brown to being cream to being this.
Okay, just quickly, what's the period between cream, brown, and
Quick.
blackface? It's quick, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, and it overlaps. So
Okay.
I'm not a Fender amp historian. All of you out there who really know this stuff will probably comment to say, no, you've got that completely wrong. But broadly speaking, tweeds first, then browns and cream things, then blackface comes along. And blackface is the quintessential mid-60s Fender sound. Mm-hmm. And in many ways, in the same way that the tweed amps had defined rock and roll before that, the 60s tweed Fender, blackface Fenders came to really be at the centre of rock and pop music to this day. So the names that we remembered from the tweeds, the Deluxes, the Princetons, the Super well, now of course they're called Super Reverb because there wasn't any reverb in the tweed amps. So reverb is in addition after the tweeds.
Okay, when did we first see reverb?
I don't know the exact year. Some of the brown face amps have it, some don't.
They do. Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Right at the end of the brown period, I think some have reverb. Maybe. Again, bit shaky, my knowledge.
I went through a brown period recently. Dodgy curry a couple of weeks ago.
Come back next week. Try the veal. Sorry. We need a joke gong, don't we? So, sorry, all of which lengthy introduction brings us to the mid-1960s. fast forward to today, those amps are still highly regarded, much loved. We've played vintage versions of all of them. Let's talk about Matt Schofield for a second. Matt has the most magical 64 Super.
He really does.
And an amazing, I think it's either 64 or 65 Deluxe that we've heard in the flesh.
The temptation with Matt is to hear that amp and go, oh my goodness, it's the most amazing amp I've ever heard. But then you hear Matt plug into a
Fender
telephone.
Bronco. Yeah.
And it's like, that's the most amazing telephone I've ever heard, you know. So, you know.
Yeah, he sounds pretty good whatever he plays.
He really, really does.
But he's a really big fan of the blackface sound, as are a lot of players in that sort of blues ilk. So whether we're talking about Derek Trucks, Philip Sace, all those guys that are particularly in my wheelhouse in terms of the kind of music that I like. Dan, not so familiar with Fender blackface amps, right? No.
So the Vox was always my thing, and I got fully enconced into the whole Vox thing. So not a lot of experience with the blackface thing. So what is it about a blackface amplifier that sort of separates it from the other the other Fender?
Yeah, I think we should do that as a whole show, but broadly speaking, they introduced, so reverb is a really key one. Not all blackface amps have reverb, I don't think, but it's the defining characteristic of the blackface amp in many ways. I mean, there's basements and stuff that don't have reverb, but broadly speaking...
And of course, that circuit changes the sound of the amplifier.
Yeah.
It's got to go out, go through the spring, be recovered, come back in. So just that circuit alone is enough to make it sound different.
Yep, so tube-driven spring reverb. Some of them had tremolo, sometimes which was called vibrato, but it was always a pitch modulation.
Amplitude modulation.
But it was always an amplitude modulation, volume up and down. So tremolo and reverb. On top of that, a change in output valves, because one of the things that was happening in amp lineage in general was that amps were getting more powerful. So we get more 6L6s. 6L6s were around in the Tweed era, of course, but the amps tend to get more powerful. Addition of negative feedback in the power amp circuit.
Okay, to control things a little bit.
Yeah,
to make a bit more headroom.
Yeah,
a bit more control.
Yeah, or more negative feedback in any case. And the principal change in sound is, and this is massively generalizing here, so forgive this, we should do a whole show on it, but the basic difference between what we think of as the Tweed sound and what we think of as the blackface sound. Tweed sound, urgent, fast, quick to break up, throaty and aggressive in the mids.
Yes, okay, yep.
Blackface, spongier, less mid-range at lower volume, so scoopier, more brilliant trebles.
Yes.
And of course, we add that reverb and tremolo, and we really get into, well, the Bakersfield sound and all the rest of it. But they've been used cross-genre. They've been much modified. Bit of trivia. Lukather's solo on Rosanna is a Paul Revere modded deluxe reverb.
No way.
I believe, yeah. But you'll hear them in all genres of music. So fast forward. Sorry, I was hoping to do that much more quickly, but fast forward. These are the modern Fender reissues.
Yes.
So if you walk into a guitar shop tomorrow or go online and you order one, this is what you'll get.
Yep.
Design and construction has changed. So they're now based around PCBs. No longer do we see that sort of eyelet and turret board construction, hand wired and all of that. So it's a modern PCB design. So yeah, it's kind of the best job they can do with modern manufacturing techniques, keeping the price relatively sensible.
Okay. But is the circuit's basically the same, right? Apparently, I would imagine.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm not an amp tech,
But you'd have to, if it wasn't the same circuit, it'd be a different amp.
Yeah, I think there'd probably a lot of amp techs screaming at the screen going, they're nothing like the old ones, but that's for you guys to discuss.
Okay.
22 watt 6v6s, 1x12 Jensen speaker that it comes with. 45 watts.
So double the power.
Two 6L6s, still two output tubes, but up in the bottle size, so we're up to 6L6s. And crucially, 4x10 Jensen P10R speakers, which is what it comes with. So lengthy discussion. We're not going to show you amp cam today. We'll tell you what the settings are as we go.
But the chassis, the panel looks very similar.
With two key differences.
Okay, no bright cap.
Yeah, no bright switch.
No bright switch, sorry. And no mid-range control on the Deluxe.
Hooray. So yeah, we'll talk a bit about bright cap. Right, that's enough yakking. Let's hear the two amps. I'm just going to switch between them, Dan.
Okay.
No pedals or anything. We're gonna play the amps quiet. We're going to play them really loud, and we're going to listen to their sort of general overall EQ and overdrive characteristics.
Okay.
Going to lean heavily on the room mics. Obviously, you'll hear a lot of the on-cab mics as well. We're going to lean heavily on the room mics today.
Okay.
Because I think it's quite important that we try and at least capture some of that different bottom end response that we're going to hear.
Cool.
Dan, sorry, way too much talking. For all of you people out there who've gone, too much talking, get on with the playing. This is your moment.
Okay, so this is the Deluxe. I love them both. So it's so interesting. There are mid-range frequencies in that Super. It's not pokey, but there's something weird going on with the mid-range there.
Completely different EQ, isn't it? It's
radically
funny,
different.
You know, for anyone who knows these amps well, you might post a comment saying, what's the difference between a Super and a Deluxe? And I might reply in the TPS comments, oh, well, you know, Super's blah, 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 and the Deluxe is blah, blah, blah. Because you're doing it all from memory. And actually hearing them A-B is a completely different experience. Yeah. We're not both on the same axis, so we are hearing them slightly off axis. I'm hearing the Deluxe off axis and I'm sat right in front of the Super. But, so what am I hearing? I'm hearing extended bottom end in the Super.
Yep. More power.
One would assume because of more power and a bigger box with more speakers. Mm-hmm. It necessarily is generating more low end. And we'll mess around with the EQ in a minute. The mid-range is in a different place.
Wholly different place.
Like more prominent in this, would you say?
But not in a pokey way. It's not like you've just grabbed mids and around 1.2K and gone, here you go. Yeah. Have some of that. It's like parts of the mids are extended, parts aren't. Yeah. It's really interesting.
And just like I said, we've got no amp cam, so I'll tell you what the settings are. We'll put them on screen. The Super is on about 2.75 on the volume. The bright switch is off.
Wow.
5.5, 4.5, 4 for the treble, middle and bass. Reverb to taste. The Deluxe is on 4.
Right.
Volume wise. Treble's on 6.5. Bass is on 5. So they're all middling there or thereabouts in the EQ.
Right.
What's also interesting about the Super is that kind of...
Man.
It'd be interesting to hear what the mics are hearing, but even with the bright switch turned off...
Yep.
And
it's still... There's a presence in that amp that's incredible.
Before we get onto that, I'm just going to plug some humbuckers in a sec. just to give the basic EQ differences between the two amps, because this guitar will offer a different presentation.
That's fascinating.
What were you hearing there?
Well, I expected a similar frequency response, but with that guitar, the mids were poking like crazy out of the Deluxe.
Back in that, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. So, yeah, it's not, I mean, still, there are mids in that, but also because the way that the output on that works, that was rocking.
Yeah.
You know, whereas the Deluxe was still quite tame and subdued.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. The next thing we're going to do is have a quick listen to the reverbs before we turn them up, get them overdriving, and then we'll move on to some pedals.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yep.
So what I'm going to do, Dan, is you play, and I'm just going to I'm going to turn the reverb down and then up.
Okay.
So you'll get not much reverb and loads of reverb. So if you could give us some trails every now and again, that would be cool. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Just addictive, isn't it?
That is unreal.
You'll see I was making gesticulations to the camera as to what number they were on. Okay. How awesome is reverb?
It's amazing. The reverb in the Super is also adding a bit of drive to it as well, I think.
Yeah. Well, we'll do that when we turn them up in a sec. We'll do that because, as you said at the beginning, the addition of that extra valve stage there, and you're driving and recovering signal via a valve through a tank. It's going to add drive, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's a big, it's a key part of both guitar amps sound, and it's one of the reasons why people say that, you know, versions of the same amp with and without reverb sound different.
Yeah, definitely. That's unreal.
Okay, what are we going to do now? I'm going to turn them up both a little bit so we get a bit of drive going.
Okay.
I'm going to turn the reverb up to a decent level. I'm going to bring in the vibrato so we can hear that, yeah?
Okay.
So the Deluxe is going to go from 4 to 5.5. I might need a little adjustment on the preamps there. And the Super's going to go from 2 to 5. This is going to be pretty loud, so we won't do this for too long.
Okay.
6 on the Deluxe. Go for it. Get ready for this. Super.
Just awesome, man.
Got any preferences?
You know, it's really interesting. Because there's more movement with the Super, it's a different visceral experience.
Yeah.
You know, and that top end, that edge, but the Deluxe is just creamy. It still has everything there. When you turn it up, the mids start working in a whole different way.
It caves in sooner, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think, which makes it less, I don't want to use the word unpleasant, but it's still loud. I mean, it's still loud. I'm right on the edge of going, we need to turn down.
Right.
My right ear's going, yep, that's almost enough for me for today.
About 2:30.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the Deluxe at that level is such a pleasant I mean, pleasant's not the right word. It's still, it doesn't punch you purely because of the volume difference, but far out, man, that the sponge and the feel under the fingers of it is unbelievable.
Yeah, and these are just straight modern reissues, remember? Okay, so I'm not going to I've turned the vibrato off for a second. We've still got plenty of reverb dialed in. Deluxe is on just about 6 and the Super's on about 6. So here's what happens with humbuckers with those settings, yeah?
That is such a sound. How lovely.
I turned the bright cap back on. It wasn't really doing much. It's not doing it very much up around 6 and 7.
Yeah, right.
Does a lot down at low volumes, which we'll get into a sec. So there you go. We didn't crank up to 10 because I think that's enough volume for a minute.
I didn't know they could do that.
Oh, really?
I didn't know they'd sound like that.
Oh, man, that's the sound.
That is the sound.
The Super Reverb sounds 666. 6 across the board and bass turned down a bit, basically. So 6 volume, treble, middle.
Right.
666, and then bass. You need to calm the bass a bit because of everything. But man, that's the sound. And then you get somebody with really lovely feel, and that's.
I say I always assumed that it was. I mean, of course, there's headroom there, but like in the Silverface amplifiers, they don't do that.
No.
They become harsh.
Yeah.
They don't. There's no. That's creamy. That sound.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that's what it was going to be like. I'm bowled over, actually.
All right, just before we turn them down, I do want to just plug in the Strat because I think it would be the right thing to do. Let's plug in the old Strat, why don't we?
Yeah, you do.
I'm going to turn the reverb down a little bit because it's pretty massive. So reverb's now down to 2 in both amps. Here's the old Strat. Just very quickly. For anyone who doesn't know, this is a 61 Strat that's on loan to me from a very nice guy called Simon Green. And, well...
I feel like I've been taken to school.
I am struggling a bit with the playing there. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, it's awful.
Jumping between guitars. The action's really gone. Anyway, sorry. No excuses.
Sounds amazing.
The extra bass response in the Super just makes you go, oh, hang on, I can't do that. I need to change pickup. And it's that sort of, wow, this is quite different. But the tone, I can't wait to hear it recorded.
Yeah.
Because in the room, it's a time and a place. Even though these are reissues and you're all going to be screaming at the screen, they don't sound anything like the originals.
I think for me, because we've always paired the Super with something else, we've never really done a thing on its own.
Yeah.
And of course, I've heard Matt's Super a dozen times, you know, and it's amazing. But I did just hearing that on its own at that volume.
It's killer, isn't it?
It's killer. It's a rock beast.
Yeah.
You know, it rocks in a whole different way than the Marshall does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's unreal.
Okay. We've got a selection of not exactly common or garden, but common flavours of pedal on the board. So we've got a Jam fuzz phrase, which is a germanium style fuzz face. The Rat, as you can see. The Morning Glory is kind of like a blues breaker. Tube Screamer that you can see. And, the Harmonious Monk.
Hands!
So I think for the remainder of the video, Dan, I mean, the Glory sounds are just the amps turned up right. But let's flick through each of these common gain types and just see how they handle.
Yeah.
How they handle that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Groovy. All right. Let's start with the Tube Screamer.
Indeed.
Give me some level because I probably need to reset the levels on the old input thing.
Carry on. I'm a little bit taken, I must admit, with that.
For the benefit of the group, the Super's gone down just under 3, which is where we normally run it. And the Deluxe has gone down to just over 4. On some Deluxes, that will be loud and drivey, but on this one, it's not. I don't know why that is. So we're losing the kind of key overdrive flavour of the amp, which you may feel is a travesty, but we're sort of creeping down towards more real world levels now, and just see what pedals do into the amp when it's in its more open.
Put my headroom, yep, sure.
More open state. I'm going to take just a little bit more of the Super because it's still crazy loud. Play this Tube Screamer, please, Dan.
Oh, man.
E-flat Strat and a tube screamer.
That's the sound.
Yeah. What you did hear there was the hateful sound of the bright cap.
Yeah, right. Because that was like...
Yeah, it's such a weird sound. Just turn the tube screamer off a sec. Again, Dan. So the Super is on 2.75. Here's a Strat.
It's weird. The cleaner stuff is really nice, but as soon as you add drive to that, it's like, is it safe?
That's the point, isn't it?
Man.
That's kind of why I picked up the Strat and went to those 2 and 4 positions, because it's almost like for certain sounds you have to have it.
Yeah. That crystalline bell-like top end and chime.
And it's really a part of that in between Strat sound thing. Now, as you turn it up, the bright cap becomes less effective. In the Deluxe Reverb, it's kind of always there, but does the same thing. It becomes less apparent as you turn it up. Just turn the Deluxe on a sec. So we should hear some of that. Where are we now? 4.5 on the master.
That's beautiful.
So you just hear that really chimey stuff right up the top there. That's what the bright cap's doing, and a really popular mod for Deluxe Reverbs is to cut that bright cap out if you really don't like it. But it is part of the sound.
I like it in the Deluxe.
And once it starts driving, it's almost like it's becoming less effective once you start turning it up. But it's almost like it needs to be there. So, okay, a little bit on the bright caps. It is a key defining characteristic of these amps. Tube Screamer was basically born for Fender blackface amps.
The lack of high top end in the Tube Screamer now makes sense.
Yeah. So here we go. Could you just turn the Tube Screamer on and off a sec, please, Dan?
Yep.
Yeah, knocks off those highs, makes sense in a black bass amp. Right, Blues Breaker. So the Morning Glory is a modified Marshall Blues Breaker with some extra bits. Very different EQ characteristic.
Yes.
To the Tube Screamer, and if we're thinking about classic flavours of overdrive, it's the other classic flavour of overdrive that isn't the Tube Screamer in many respects.
I just want to quickly hear it. There's a bright switch. I want to hear it with a bright switch turned on into the Deluxe. Give me 2 seconds. Where are you? There we go. Oh, come on, you. Right, so this is the high cut off into the Deluxe.
Okay, where was I? I'll just go on the bridge pickup.
Yep. Makes more sense to me with the high cut turned on for that one Super and it off for the Deluxe, because the Deluxe seems to need a bit more help in those top end frequencies when it's being pushed. But there's so much of it in the Super. That's fascinating. Okay, the Rat then. This would be really interesting because this is, you know, for all intents and purposes, a distortion pedal. And I've got the filter turned down to a point where it's not going to take our heads off.
My head is pretty much taken off at this point.
I started playing this, didn't realise I was in drop D. Okay, right. El Rato.
Yeah.
great into the Deluxe.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
No, it's into the Deluxe. It is killer.
The mid-range that starts to happen is really juicy and fat, isn't it? Whereas this just retains all of its kind of like...
Yeah.
Both...
Oh, man, this is incredible.
I don't know what the mics are going to hear, but they both sound great to me.
They really do.
Very different versions.
Yeah.
All right, Fuzz then. Let's hear this. So this is a typical kind of fuzz face, and we always say never run a fuzz face into a clean amp, Dan.
Well, into a bright, clean amp with loads of headroom.
Let's do that, shall we?
Yeah.
Which one's the Super?
One.
Go
Yep.
for it.
Okay. So, Fuzz. For that scoopy fuzz, shoegazy type thing into the Super was just wonderful. Like no mids. So that sort of a sound is really cool.
I'm really interested to know if your perception of no mids is because there's so much more bass and treble.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whether because the mids actually aren't there.
It'd
be interesting to hear it.
Yeah. But the bottom end is so big and that top end sizzle.
It dominates, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. totally different experience.
Yeah.
I turned the bass down in the Super from whatever it was on, 5 to 3 and a bit. Might be that it could have gone down a bit more. And all of a sudden it started to speak.
Yeah.
The mids came out again. And certainly the note definition, because the Fuzz is still smashing it, but it's not smashing it as much as it's smashing the Deluxe. But I love the mid-range thing that's happening in the Deluxe.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it?
Really, really lovely.
Yeah. I'm taken. I just want to hear the Fuzz with the Monk again, but with both amps on. I know it's a bit of a thing. I just want to hear it. Just do what you were doing.
Yep.
But with both amps.
Okay.
I'm taken.
The problem, you've got that Gretsch out. We have to hear it.
Okay.
Because people are going to go, oh, the Gretsch! One of the favourite guitars on TPS. What do you want, Daniel?
Okay, just give me some Deluxe.
Yeah.
And
Two Deluxe?
Yep, and a bit of the Monk and a bit of the delay.
I'm not quite sure what the delay's set on at the moment. We can try that.
Yeah. Wow.
I turned the both amps on, and I turned the vibrato on in there.
Oh, did you?
Turned the tremolo on in there, so you had harmonious monk, which sounds awesome, by the way. Sorry, the reason I've said that is because that's our final prototype that we're testing today. So we're sort of testing it live, really.
That was it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Stick a fork in it. It's done.
All right, let's sum up then. It's been a long video because I think we were having a lot of fun. Fender's blackface amps, clearly known for their clean tones. But I think the drive tones today were the spectacular thing, weren't they?
I genuinely didn't know that was there.
It's been a while since I've done it. But and of course, is it relevant today? Because not everyone can turn up like that. To get one of these amps, cook-in is basically illegal in most venues now.
But like the Rat into a clean Deluxe was just awesome.
Yeah, I thought...
And that's the common, like, £70, whatever that is, Rat.
Yeah.
Into the... Man.
All right, the custom shop fuzz phrase is a bit unobtainium, but there is a standard fuzz phrase that's basically the same. Yeah. So it's not like any of this is really hard to get. That's why we've chosen it. Deluxe... Clearly more focused, clearly chewier mid-range because it doesn't have the extended bottom end. Whether you decide to snip out the bright cap or not is up to you depending on how loud you play it. It can be a little bit hateful at low volumes. But for that clean Strat thing where you get that on the edge of the note, that's almost essential for that sound.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I really like it.
But it does start to hurt when you hit it with an overdrive, and then
at low volume
you get that overdriven, which is not great. But at higher volume, that becomes a very pleasant thing.
Yeah.
Super reverb, more extended bottom end, clearly a lot louder.
Yeah. That gives you a more visceral experience.
Yeah.
But apart from all that, just what a sound, the Super. The interesting thing for me with the Super is no matter what we plugged into it, the Super always sounded like a Super.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas the Deluxe sort of, it worked a bit more with what was going into it.
The mid-range shift was
incredible,
astounding.
right? Yep,
really
absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But the Super was just like, wow.
Hello.
And the same sort of thing that a Vox does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Vox, no matter what you plug into it,
it's always a Vox.
Always a Vox.
Yeah.
And the Super was the same. Whereas the Deluxe, there were times I would have had real difficulty telling you what amp that was.
Yeah.
Because
of that mid-range shift.
It was incredible. Wow.
So there we go. No doubt lots of you will be screaming at the screen. Please compare that with old ones. Please compare it with a Vibrolux. Please compare it with a Hot Rod Deluxe. Obviously, we can't do everything in one video.
No, but we invite you to compare them and tell us what you think.
But given that we own these two amps and people have been asking for it, that's what we've done.
Yeah. Unreal. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And also, if you click the little bell, it'll give you notifications when new videos and when we go live on Mondays, VCQ.
Yes.
So join us this Monday and we can chat all about this.
Yes, Dan may well be on a screen from afar.
Indeed. Yeah, I'll be masked up.
Yeah, we'll work it out.
Full body condom on. Right. Also, massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is...
Anderton's Music of Guildford in Surrey, where you can buy... I'm going to say all of this stuff.
Yeah. And also, our friends in Australia.
Would be Pedal Empire of Brisbane, Queensland, where you can buy some of it.
And we have links in the description.
Yes, to go to Sweetwater in the US. If you click those links and you buy stuff, Dan and I get a little kickback from that, and that really helps us run the show. I do believe all of this stuff is available from them. Not sure about the Harmonious Monk yet, because we're not even sure it's on sale by the time this video goes out, but it will be on sale soon.
Very soon. And a massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And also to everyone that's gone to that pedalshowstore.com and grabbed t-shirts and strings and pedals and hats and...
D&M drives.
D&M drives,
pencils,
all that stuff. Yeah.
Pin badges.
Yeah. So thank you all so much. That really helps us do what we do.
Indeed.
Have a fantastic week. We'll see you on Monday for VCQ. See you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.